pride, passion, and pageantry of college football lives here. This is the Paul Feinbaum Show, Hour 1 podcast.
This might be college football heaven.
And we welcome you to the football season. More news on Lane Kiffin later. Welcome in. We have a lot to do on this Thursday afternoon. Plenty of time for phone calls, a lot of guests. Let's start with some conversation. Is Alabama a playoff team? That depends on who you ask. That is Blake Topmeyer, who will drop by later today. Listen, in February and March and April, you asked, when is the season going to begin? How about noon Eastern time on Saturday in Ireland? North Carolina and TCU. That's a pretty good game. TCU's got a lot happening. New quarterback. We got Bill Belichick fighting for his legacy as the worst college football coach of all time. You got another. You got Lincoln Riley. You got NC State at Virginia. That's a conference game in August. How about Stanford later on and Memphis? That's a really good game, by the way. I'm not sure I'm going to. Memphis at UNLV. That is Dan. That is new coach at Memphis, and Dan Mullen, the veteran at UNLV. Meanwhile, Mike Elko today had a lot.
It reminded me of a really smart guy who stood on a podium and cried for centralized leadership in college sports because it felt like a lot of people were just acting in their best interests. I can't remember who it was that said that recently, but I feel like somebody came out and said something like that. It's a statement about where we are from a governance standpoint, that we are having conversations about what the rules are going to be regarding roster management on August 27th, and we kick off. There's games tonight, there's games Saturday, and we're not even really sure what the rules are around who can play on our teams this fall.
Well, it's really not that complicated. You just pick up the phone and call Jeff Landry, the governor of Louisiana. He'll tell you the way it's going to happen. Speaking of the football season, the guy who coined the phrase, because his website was named by the same name, every day should be Saturday, Spencer Hall returns to the show after a year suspension. And we say hello to Spencer. Good afternoon. Welcome back.
No, thank you. I'm ready to get suspended again.
Well, listen, I do want your thoughts on the actual games first. I realize this is not the best lineup we've ever seen, but it is a lineup, and it's better than the one last week. So what are you most looking forward to Saturday?
I'm meat and potatoes here. Like every red-blooded American, I love to see formerly great people fail. So what I'm looking forward to is I'm Front Street with it. Everyone else is just lying. I want to see Bill Belichick fail. You know why? 'Cause I'm a hater. Like, I hate my heart, Paul, and I want to see him fail. And I don't even really have to work that hard, because Bill Belichick, if you watched last season, UNC, their defense got significantly better towards the end of the season. They really did. And they played well. The offense was putrid, and they really undersold everything that the defense was trying to do. And I think that defensively they're going to be a lot better. But they can only be better for so long, because this is a Jimmy's and Joe's game. And their Jimmy's and Joe's, they don't measure up to TCU's, much less to their conference mates. So additionally, too, I don't know if you're at your best when you fly overseas to do anything. I don't think either team will be. It'll be sloppy. It'll be weird. But in the end, TCU is a more talented team. And if they could just run the same 3 plays in the second half and probably come out ahead of UNC.
And I don't know about you, Spencer. I'm kind of ticked off because right after he lost last year in the opener, embarrassing, I started just pounding away just because it felt good. And now everybody's saying the same thing about Bill Belichick. I mean, will somebody stand up and defend this man's honor?
No, he hired Mike Lombardi. You don't have to, man. He paid him $1 million a year, and he stinks. He's terrible at that job. He came in arrogant and got rid of most of the people who knew what they were doing in the scouting and evaluation department, and that's what happens when you do it. And you think that would be a lesson, by the way, for Bill Belichick, because much of what the New England Patriots failed at doing in the tail end of his tenure when they weren't real good was talent evaluation. And then UNC ended up hiring a guy who everyone knew didn't quite have the eye for talent he once had, and then hired a guy who definitely didn't have the eye, who then told everybody they weren't able to evaluate talent. Who could say this was going to go wrong? This is basically hiring an unlicensed contractor to cut down a tree in your yard. It's ending up in your roof.
Wasn't it better when the only person we heard about was Jordan Hudson? I don't even, is she still around anymore? Do you know?
No, they should put her in charge of recruiting. They should put her in charge of talent evaluation. Because you know what I know about her? She's got hustle. And you know what I know about her too? She's probably better at this than Mike Lombardi.
What did you mean when you said hustle?
Hustle. We know this about her, right? We know that before the age of 30, she has a small real estate empire of her own. I didn't, Paul.
No, I didn't either.
I barely had a house. I don't think my first mortgage was until I was 27. Apparently, she's got like 5 or 6 of them, all generating income. You know those Instagram ads for like, hey, here's how you get into real estate. She could basically do one of those. She could run a seminar. That's hustle.
Well, congratulations on having a house. I don't. I'm living. I'm a squatter in Nick Saban's guest house right now. He just doesn't know it. Spencer, let's get to what has been the story of the week, and that is Lane Kiffin and what apparently now is going to be a major court battle next week that will once again upstage all the things we enjoy so much. I know there's no easy way to describe Lane Kiffin and what is going on, but give it a shot.
I think this. If you tell Lane Kiffin he could put someone on a roster, he will. So if there's somebody who was in the NFL who theoretically has some eligibility left, we're going to go ahead and put him on the roster. If there's somebody who's currently playing in the NFL right now and Lane Kiffin makes him an offer, then Lane Kiffin will put him on the roster if he says yes. I think that's the rule. I'm not going to bag on Lane here at all. This is a matter of governance leaving so many holes open because governance has been trying to avoid the central point that I've been making and that a lot of people have been making about collegiate athletes for so long. You are professional athletes. Those are professional athletes. They're playing at a semi-pro level, but that is an athlete who should be paid for their labor. We've done everything, all of this mess. I don't want to hear anybody complaining about the old days because you know what we're basically back to? We're basically back to George Gipp. Hi, everyone. Going to get a little short history lesson. Win one for the Gipper, right? That's Ronald Reagan's biggest role. And in it, he plays George Gipp, a Notre Dame player who's dying. And it says, inspirationally, you need to go win one for the Gipper. Did he ever say that in real life? No. Most of Notre Dame's early history is completely made up. And good for Newt Rockne because that's how you get him in the seats. The point being, George Gipp never went to class, man. George Gipp was an early college football hero, and that guy was a ringer. He spent most of his time earning money playing pool in the halls of South Bend. We're basically back there 100 years later to a situation we had in the 20s where we don't even really know what the line between collegiate eligibility and professional eligibility is. And if you leave the door open for Lane Kiffin to do that, it's not on him. That's on us.
Before you go, you wrote a very poignant piece this week about Dolly Parton, whose death really affected people in so many different ways, Spencer. 48 hours later, I'm still scratching my head. Not that I'm surprised by it, but maybe I am surprised by the reaction. I mean, I knew she was popular, but this is really something that we haven't seen in a long time, maybe in many people's lifetime.
I think it's a matter of this. She began, if you look at her, go look at her Wikipedia bio. There's a fantastic combination of sentences, which is one sentence is she was signed to a songwriting deal. And then the next sentence is 2 years later, she became the first person in her family to graduate high school. That is where she was at. That's how long she's been around. She was an ace songwriter for Nashville Houses before she turned 20. Before she turned 30, she was a country music, TV star on the Porter Wagner show. Before she turned 40, she had her own business empire, right? So really, she kind of aged into cultural institution much earlier than everyone else had a chance to, because she got such a jump on everyone else by being so precocious. I think she's had that impact because she's been around so long, because she was welcoming to all people at any time. If you doubt me, by the way, go see some of the celebrity tributes and try to draw a straight line through them. You can't. She sent thank you notes to 3-6 Mafia and congratulations notes to 3-6 Mafia and Eminem and Rob Halford. By the way, Rob Halford, the lead singer of Judas Priest, when they were at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Dolly walked up to him and said, "Hi, we're going to sing tomorrow night. Do you know my song Jolene?" Paul. She walked up to somebody and said, "Do you know Jolene?" And Rob Halford said, yeah, I'm familiar with your work. You're Dolly Parton. I think it was that, and I think it was the streak of charity that she both did vocally through the Imagination Library, which, hey, if you got kids, sign them up. You'll get free books. It'll make them dream a little. It'll make their lives a little bigger. I love it. But also, she did a lot of things that she never told anything about, including one that personally means a lot to me. I was in marching band. Right. And it was one of the first, it's one of the first things I did in school was I was in band, and then I was subsequently in marching band. She funded a number of high school marching bands simply by asking, "Hey, what do you need?" Like, that to me is like, if you want to know how to leave a legacy, when somebody presents you with a problem, don't say, "Oh, well, that'll never work," or "Here, I have a solution." The thing that she would do when confronted with that problem was, "What do you need?" And then she would get it to him. So if you want to know why we've had a 48-hour wake for this person we've never met, it's probably because, she asked the simple questions like, "What do you need to solve this problem?"
Amazing stuff. Spencer Hall, never disappointed. Spencer, be well. Look forward to chatting soon. Spencer Hall joining us. He coined the phrase, "Every day should be Saturday," and we agree. A lot to do on this program. We appreciate you all being here, and we'll take your phone calls when we come back.
You're listening to the Paul Feinbaum Show podcast.
We're back, and we appreciate all you being here. Let's check out Sean in Shreveport first up. Sean, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. What's going on, Paul?
We are doing well.
I just got a question. Why are y'all so hard on Lane, man?
We like Lane.
I don't know about that one, Paul.
No, you would be surprised, Sean. But I'm telling you, whether I like him or not has nothing to do with an opinion on what is going on down there.
So what you think about that situation? You think the NCAA right?
Well, I think the SEC is right to come down on it. The NCAA, I wouldn't spit on the NCAA if they were on fire. But I think the SEC had to do something as a collective body, especially with some of the mitigating circumstances, which have yet to be proven but are lingering out there, that Kiffin and his staff were really the instigators behind all these lawsuits.
Well, if you know LSU wasn't the first one to grab one of those guys.
No, I'm well aware of that. Yeah, I mean we have the ability here at this network to monitor the entire country. There's a judge.
Talk about a Kentucky.
I think that's really that might be the best question I've heard. The reason why is that when there's an isolated case at Texas, or one at Kentucky or Alabama, they're isolated. They also are not attached to someone like Lane Kiffin, who has done what he is doing now in different forms or fashion, really throughout his entire career. That's the problem. This is a guy that has shattered all these norms. That's not the legal aspect of it. I'm just giving you why does the media attract to Kiffin like a moth to light, because of everything else that he's already done.
It got to do with Kiffin and the brand LSU too, I believe, too, Paul.
Well, Sean, I tell you what, we will know a little bit more soon, so you take care of yourself. How about Agent C?
Hey.
Good afternoon, Agent.
Hey, Paul, good afternoon. Before we get into football, just wanted to say thank you for what you said yesterday and holding up the book. I wasn't listening live, but, man, my phone started blowing up. So really appreciate that.
Well, no, I got the book Monday night. I was just so excited. I brought it in because I wanted to make sure I don't trust the U.S. mail anymore. So I thought the best way to communicate with you was right over through this camera.
Well, that was really nice, so I appreciate that. But listening to the Elko clip and then Spencer, it gets right to something that I've been talking about, and it seems like the economics of college football have just gotten so far ahead of governance. And I even said it's like an offensive tackle trying to cover a slot receiver in space. He may be a good football player, but you put him in a position to do something he's not designed to do. And that just seems like that's where college football is right now, Paul.
Well, I think you're right, and I don't think I'm not alibiing for anyone. I think there's a lot of people here that are wrong, but this is ultimately the NCAA's fault, and it doesn't really pay to keep blaming them because they're an inept organization that's only chance of survival is getting the Senate to pass this bill. And that turns a lot of people off because I, for one, don't want the NCAA to survive. I don't know about you, agency, but we don't need them anymore. What you saw Monday and Tuesday in Birmingham and at the Big Ten and at the other conferences is really the new direction of college athletics. It's individual conferences taking care of their own schools as opposed to this bogus, overbloated, corrupt organization in Indianapolis.
I agree with you 100%. I've said many times, I think the NCAA is just a toothless tiger right now, just trying to claw their relevance, and I think it's gone. So I'm in 100% agreement with you there, Paul.
Well, look forward to meeting you soon, Agent. Thanks again. I appreciate the book. Daryl is in Baton Rouge. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Paul. How you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
Let me start by saying the president of the AD signed yesterday that banning NFL players for coming back, and then they didn't sign the penalty resolution. Is that correct?
That is correct, and I believe that is going to be a major bone of contention because I think inside this court Monday at this hearing, I'm sure the SEC would argue, and rightly so, that LSU voted in favor of it. And I don't know if this is going to be one of those Solomon cases of trying to split the baby. I don't know which one is going to carry more weight. It seems like if you're voting in favor of these sanctions, you have put your toe in the water, not voting for it. By the way, they didn't vote against it, so by abstaining, I think it's going to side in favor of them being for it, since they have not publicly acknowledged that they are against it.
Yeah. Look, the TRO that was signed isn't good. It's only good for 10 days, as I understand it.
Correct.
So what can they do in a 10-day period of time to get anything done before the TRO runs out, Paul?
Well, I need some help on that one because I am not privy to the exact document. But I think I think this hearing in Baton Rouge Monday is going to be a very critical a very critical moment to determine, cliche here, which way the wind is blowing. Hey, thanks for the call. Really do appreciate it. Frank is in Texas. Good afternoon.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, Paul. I have a theory. I don't know if I've heard it before on your show. I kind of made this up in my head, I think. But it's about Lane Kiffin, okay? And him, he's a pretty shady guy. And I think he wants out. And I'll tell you the reason behind that here in a second. But he was thinking of ways, and he goes, how can I get out of this? And then he went back, I'll get me a lawyer just like McGuire in Texas, and I'll raise some heck over this, and maybe they'll fire me and let me go. Because I think his ultimate goal is, now that he sees the coach in Alabama is, in kind of a little bit of hot water if you don't win. He wants that job. And, I think him and McGuire are a little bit shady. They're like used car salesmen. No, wait, I retract that statement. The car salesman ain't used.
Yeah, Frank, first of all, I let me offer this. I mean, there's no question Kiffin wanted the Alabama job. And the Alabama job is going to be more attractive after DeBoer if he leaves than it would have been right after Saban. But I don't think Lane Kiffin could find a better job than what he has right now. I mean, you would argue LSU is one of the top 3 or 4 jobs in college football, and the thing that is so attractive about it is that everyone is behind the program. I don't have any doubt Lane Kiffin talks to the governor every morning. That's a big guy to have in your favor. The governor of Alabama, well, it may change in January, but is not that involved in Alabama football. But I think, if you're a historian, you look at Kiffin's history. We all know he won't be there forever. He never stays anywhere too long because he wears out his welcome. The best place he's ever been is Ole Miss. The people loved him, and he left town and trashed them all in the process. And it's still fighting that war. Hey, I must run to the break. Quick break. Back with more guests coming. Busy show on tap.
Thank you, Paul.
You're listening to the Paul Feinbaum Show podcast.
I'll get back to the calls, and CJ in Virginia is up next.
Hey, Paul, how's it going?
Hey, good to have you back.
Hey, listen, y'all got this whole Lane Kiffin LSU thing backwards. It's Greg Sankey and the SEC that need to worry about getting sued by the lawyers of these players. And it's the NCAA's fault, 100%. And this is a one-off. This is not Lane or LSU trying to get NFL players every year who've been playing. This is the 2022 class with the 5 for 5. That's all this is about. It's one group of guys for 1 year who were done wrong. And the judges have, not just in Louisiana, but all over the country, saying they should be allowed to play. The NCAA could have done a blanket statement and been done with this. So anyway, everyone's, there's several people, respectfully, Paul, like yourself, using this to bash Lane Kiffin and LSU. You look at Ole Miss and Chambliss, that's a lot more egregious than what this is. And if I remember right, y'all just kind of laughed.
But CJ, I don't mean to interrupt, but Chambliss was a medical issue. It had nothing to do with what is going on here.
Oh, come on. All right. Well, anyway.
No, that is not an opinion. The school and the NCAA ruled him ineligible based on they decided that his claim of medical relief was not valid. That's why that happened the way it did. It had nothing to do with what you're talking about. And you're right. I mean, the final result here could be the compromise where they just go ahead and say, okay, we're going to exempt this class
Greg
and
Sankey is
move
not
on.
above the law. Greg Sankey is not above the
law.
Okay.
First of all, CJ, nobody is claiming Greg Sankey is above the law. And let me remind you, Greg Sankey is not an individual in this case. His entire league, which includes the president of LSU on Monday, voted in favor of the guidelines of this principle. Now, the next day, and this is going to be interesting, when they approved of the penalties, LSU abstained. If LSU thought this was so egregious, why didn't they vote against it?
Yeah, look,
by the way, I'm waiting for your answer because your answer is fairly important as opposed to all this nonsensical garbage that you're throwing up here, hoping some of it sticks to the wall. Thanks for the call. Really do appreciate it. Travis is up next in Mobile, Alabama. Hello, Travis.
Yes, Paul. How are you doing today?
We are doing great.
Good. But Paul, I'm glad the SEC finally said something. It took them long enough, didn't it?
It sure did.
Right. Yes, Paul. My whole stance on this whole thing is that once you declare to go pro and once you join the NFL in any capacity, you should not be able to come back. If you get cut from an NFL team, don't come back. Go play in the CFL or the USFL, Paul. And and I'm not even against players fighting for another year of eligibility. Just do it while you're still in college. Once you declare pro, that's my line. Do you agree? Do you agree, Paul?
Most certainly, I sure do.
Right. Yes. And correct me if I'm wrong. LSU, the president voted in favor of the new rule, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. And they're still going to sue in court, right?
Well, let's be clear here. We got an individual player who is suing, but if you read the governor's statement yesterday, and we shared it, and I'm sure you saw it, that is really where all this is coming from. I don't blame the LSU president. The governor gave him a job. I mean, listen, the guy's at McNeese State University, and the governor, his buddy, gives him a job at LSU. I wouldn't be criticizing the governor either. And the governor is the one who has declared war on Greg Sankey, not the other way around. Travis, Thank you so much for the call. Really do appreciate it. You take care of yourself. And let me check in with AJ, who is up next.
How we doing, Paul? Pleasure to be back.
Thank you.
Hey, so I wanted to kind of talk about Shane Beamer today. Maybe switch focus from Lane Kiffin over to Shane Beamer and just talk about how scorching that seat is in South Carolina.
It is very hot, but I don't think it's unmanageable though, because Shane Beamer doesn't have to go to the playoffs. He doesn't have to win a championship. He just needs to win about 7 or 8 games, and he survives. I don't think he's under any more pressure than that.
I agree with you, Paul. He's had some serious key wins under his tenure at South Carolina. He had the big upset against Tennessee in 2022, and he followed that up with another victory against Clemson. Last year, it was a bit of a downslide from the year before, quite a few losses on the schedule last year. But he does face a tough schedule again this year. There is quite a bit of talent on that team, though. You have, Lenore Sellers, Nitro Tuggle. There's a couple other big names on that team. But the schedule coming up is tough. I mean, we got.
Well, yeah, but I think you said it. I mean, he's not. He's got freak talent on that football team, and after last season, if he can't manage the schedule, then I don't think he'll survive. Now, how does he manage the schedule? He's at Alabama, he's at Florida, he's at Oklahoma, he's got Georgia. I mean, those are 4 games that are virtually incredibly difficult to win.
You got to throw in Texas A&M and Tennessee in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what he has to do. It's really simple. He has to win those Tennessee and Texas A&M games. He has to win home. He has to maintain home field. And if he does that, if he only loses Georgia, if he loses those 4 road games, the Clemson game very well might determine whether he comes back or not, because that is a really big game, and he can't slip up anywhere. I'll tell you another game. If he cannot handle the road, and the road being Alabama, Florida, and Oklahoma, I don't think he's going to make it. He has to win Florida. I mean, there's no getting around that unless he makes up for it somewhere else.
Yeah, I think Florida is a key one. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him sneak out of either Oklahoma or Texas A&M with a win. I
mean, here's the deal. Someone is not going to be as good as we think they are. Is it A&M? Is it Oklahoma? Is it Alabama? And those are the three that are being pushed to the top. They're not on the schedule, but is Ole Miss that good? Is LSU? I mean, there are 5 SEC schools that are going to determine all these things. And if one or two of those are outstanding, then it makes it problematic for somebody like Shane Beamer, who really needs somebody to have a bad season that is on his schedule. Quick break. We're up against that. More to come. A lot of guests are dropping by. We're off and running, and we'll come back after this.
You're listening to the Paul Feinbaum Show podcast.
We are back, and Jeff is up next in Ohio. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
We're doing great.
Well, who needs a sitcom for the Paul Feinbaum Show when we've got all this? I got one more to add for you. There's a new wrinkle in the Big Ten. This is funny. It looks like Ryan Day, we're still living rent-free in his head, Michigan. He is changing senior day from the last day of the year, last game of the year, to the first game of the year. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
I have not, no.
It's unbelievable. How do you do that?
Well, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
I'd never heard of that for any sport. Not only for myself in my own life in high school, but for my own kids. Everything was the last home meet, the last home game of the year for every sport. I always thought it was a kind of thing of your 4 years at the school. It's for seniors. And you give your mom a rose and you walk her out to the middle of the football field. I don't understand it, but anyway, Paul, want to know real quick about my reunion?
Yeah, I sure would, Jeff. How did it go?
It was fabulous. It's a lot like everybody's reunion, if I've ever been to one. And I know you said you hadn't, but, the questions of how would you define success and all that, and almost everybody agreed it's, be a good father, good kids, and a good career, those kinds of things. And it's great to catch up on people. And I'll tell you what, I was very surprised to hear one father say his daughter was a 2-time Olympian in hurdles, 2008 and 2012. And she's an elite sports trainer. She helped to train Bryce Underwood when he was in high school. Pretty impressive, huh?
Jeff, you got me thinking. I try not to have regrets in life, but I do. You made me regret not going to one of my high school reunions right there, because I don't know. I don't even remember why I didn't go, but I didn't, and it would have been fun. Maybe it's not too late. Hey, thank you for the call. Really do appreciate it. I want to hear more about that sometimes. Let's check in with Mark, who is in South Carolina. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Paul. I just want to respond to the guy that was talking about Greg Sankey's above the law. Like, he's not stopping the players from playing at LSU if they want to. He's just saying they're going to have to pay a penalty to 50% of the revenue of the budget, correct. And Lane Kiffin's going to have to sit for 6 games. So I don't even think this lawsuit thing is going to work out for him. But, I mean, you got all these corrupt Louisiana judges and lawyers and the snake Lane Kiffin. I mean, they just do whatever they want down there. And it's like us college football fans.
You know something? I said this earlier, Mark, and somebody texted me from Baton Rouge and said I was wrong. And what I said was LSU voted Monday for the new policy, which I thought they did because they said it was unanimous. Now LSU folks are arguing that they abstained when it came to the penalties. Therefore, they're absolved of voting for it the previous day. Now, I still maintain abstaining doesn't make it look like they are endorsing what the school's head coach is doing. If they thought it was so bad, why didn't they vote against it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. And last quick thing here, my Gamecocks are going down the swamp, and we're tearing Florida up this year. And you can book that. That's a lock, Paul.
Okay. Well, that would be critical for a good season. There's no disputing that. Thank you for the call. Really do appreciate it. And let's check in with George, who is in the island country of Louisiana.
Hi, Paul. I wanted to let you know that it's great here in Greenland. The weather is good. A little cool spell coming from the north, but it's feeling like football weather. Look, I'm an LSU fan. I've been an LSU fan since I was a little kid, listening to Billy Cannon's run on the radio on my living room floor. So, first of all, I'm tired of all this crap. I'm ready for football to get started. And I don't love or hate Lane Kiffin. He hadn't done his thing for me yet. Now, if he starts winning some ball games, I love him. I like him a lot better than our last coach because he was a dud. But, I mean, for the most part, LSU football fans really don't care about all this stuff. If he wins some games and keeps his job, I mean, if he's breaking any rules, I haven't heard any rules that he's broken. If he breaks the rules, fire his ass. That'd be all right. We can get somebody else. We got money. We can get a chicken man to fork up some more money. But anyway, bottom line is this. I love LSU football. I don't love Lane Kiffin. I sure don't love Governor Landry. And I don't even know the president or the athletic director. I just love LSU football. I'm ready to see him
George,
win.
not to educate you, but I think Landry went to McNeese, too, is where Roos, the new president, came from. And
I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that is the case. I wonder, though, since Governor Landry is also, I think he's the president or the ambassador to Greenland, will LSU threaten to move the Clemson game to Nuuk, which is the capital of Greenland? That would be a nice spot for a game next Saturday night, wouldn't it?
It really would, but I think the preparations are already underway in Death Valley, so it might be kind of hard. They might schedule a game next year there. That might be a good idea, a way to get some revenue for NIL, to get the NIL.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. I think it's going to be tough to find hotel rooms in Nuuk. They only have 20,000 people there, and I think the average temperature is probably about minus 100. Hey, thanks for the call. We'll take a short break. We have a lot more happening here on the program. Your phone calls always welcome. A couple more guests will be dropping by right after this.
You're listening to the Paul Feinbaum Show podcast.